The issue of climate change is seriously affecting communities that include Chimanimani in Zimbabwe. Organizations that work with communities in Chimanimani are facing some challenges that are related to climate change. Therefore, it is necessary that such organizations receive support in form of International Climate Service. Mr. Julious Piti, the Director of Participatory Organic Research Extension and Training, PORET in abbreviation, gives an insight on the need for International Climate Service. He begins with the greatest challenges that organizations are confronted with.
My name is Julious Piti, and I'm the Director of PORET Trust, which is a grassroots organization that was founded in Chaseyama 2006. The greatest challenge in climate change in my organization, PORET, is the concept of water cycle and how climate change affects people. Because we are in the rural area and our setup doesn't allow us to see even big industries and how they affect the environment. But however, when we talk to the farmers, the concept seems to be not understood quickly because it do not link directly to the farmer. But however, because of the climate change and the erratic change of weather and weather patterns in the rainfall patterns, people and the cyclone that we have faced in Chimanimani, people start to wonder what is going on. There is like a natural disaster that has never been spoken. So the connection between the activities that individual does on their homesteads and the climate change in our organization, as explained, the lobbying and advocacy is quite tough and it's not well understood because a lot of activities in agriculture has something to do with climate change and affects climate change. And also the food that we eat, the cattle that we graze, and the big fields that we open, the use of our forests, and unsustainable use of some of the natural resources actually matters. But however, the biggest challenge is that this subject cannot be understood in one go. It's a long-term project, and there are no funders who understand the kind of project and what it requires for that project to work well in our rural setup. We have lots of issues to focus on, and usually these issues are grouped in different areas like the catchment area, the fields, the littering around of papers and all that causes climate change problems are not easy to put across.
Mr. Piti says his organization is responding to these challenges despite that he faces some obstacles and resistance.
As an organization, we respond to this one by teaching what we call agroecology, which is permaculture. The permaculture advises people to use the available resource in a wise way so that you can build up economic value that is not very expensive. Unlike the conventional agriculture and other projects that needs lots of inputs, external inputs that are costly, we actually use what is available. For example, if we have got some water sources somewhere, we have to conserve those water sources by improving the watershed management so that the effective rainfall will actually collect enough water in order for our water sources to have enough water all year round for our agriculture and make our economic viable projects around us and actually establish our ecosystem services so that they function and make use of all the systems that are there to support the community in economics. So that is our resolution, and therefore to do that we need to be organized. So we have formed the Permaculture Club, which is supported by PORET, so that people are able to be taught in a sustainable way so that in the long term they can create their own livelihoods, looking after their kind of environment that support themselves in food production, and also to reduce a lot of poison from pesticides, fertilizers that can actually poison the soil and kill the microorganisms. So that at the end of the day, our youth are able to use available resources and admire and look after themselves for the better tomorrow.
Mr. Piti is optimistic that the International Climate Service has sustainable effects.
Because we are having this program with the WFT, where we are going to work on 3 rivers, Changazi, Munyanyazi, and Umvumvumvu. The idea of having ICS is to have this support in administration so that when we are working, we can actually do what we call cultural exchange in climate change strategies. Because this project, even if it is going to be funded for 5 years, we see that it's a drop in the ocean. It's a long-term project that we would need somebody who will be reporting on a higher level to make sure that we have got enough funds that are mobilized in advance, and also to align administration, because we have got a lot of work to do, lobbying and advocacy on the ground to make the implementation happen. So therefore, the value of the ICS is to make sure that we do proper documentation, lobbying and advocacy, able to assist in the fundraising, capacity building in the local staff, but at the same time, we'll be implementing the project together, and the learning will be actually translated to the donor organization for lobbying and advocacy and for fundraising. So those are the major advantages, and also to capacitate the local NGO staff in order for us to do effective and efficient work.
He further outlines that the provision of an international expert to work in his organization for International Climate Service is an added value.
So the added value of having the ICS is that we are going to do what we call cultural exchange. PORET has been formed in the way that the cultural exchange is one of the major projects, whereby when people have leveraged their cultural difference, advantages and disadvantages, so the understanding of each continental views becomes stronger and the support becomes more real, and they leverage the economic value of each of those continents and countries. But if the cultural values has got big difference, it means that there are big misunderstandings and also conflicts will be arising, because the point at which this cultural and economic value that are driven by cultural may not be closer together. Therefore, contradictions and support can be very different and very difficult to achieve on simple things that could have been done long back. I would not give a lot of examples, but I see that the cultural exchange, understanding of what is happening here in Zimbabwe, and compare to opportunities that are there in the world. For example, donor funding and other opportunities, learning institution and so on. That works for our situation. It's very, very, very important. So those are kind of added advantages. And then upon implementation and recommendations, we could see that there will be a lot of exchange that will be developed in there through this kind of partnership and working together. So this is the whole value that we can derive, and even to upgrade our offices and the way things are done. The organizational culture will be actually changed and improved to better, and integrate those effective and important principles that are based in Zimbabwe and PORET, but upgrading them into a more effective kind of systems that works to a better level. Thank you.
He says that the provision of international experts is an urgent matter.
Now we are here in Zimbabwe, and we know there are a lot of donor funding who donate and fund lots of things, but we still think that we want more funding on climate change, and also supporting small-scale farmers to be able to use sustainable agriculture, agroecology. This means we need to organize lots of trainings that needs to be implemented along Africa, Zimbabwe, and other nations, so that at the end we will be operating on informed decision in terms of agroecology, on its effects to the climate change, that positive effect, and also to make sure that everyone else who is trying to produce food, either in the industrial or agriculturalists or whatever, they must know that the option is there, the agroecology, permaculture, and the support from the different kind of donor agents and administrative structures, governments must focus straight away in the agroecology. We know that it will take longer because for introducing industrial agriculture in Zimbabwe, it took almost 100 years. So to undo that, it might take us about 150 years. But however, we are facing the danger of climate change that are claiming a lot of lives here in Zimbabwe, especially in Chimanimani district. So we need to hurry up to anybody who feel sympathy on this. We will want a bit fast track in doing this job. It is not one season project. It is a long-term project that needs a lot of partnership with different governments, including our government. We are so happy about Zimbabwean government because we have already adopted some policies on agroecology in production of food and the marketing. This is a step ahead through PELAM and other consortium programs that we are working on. Thank you.